Thanks everyone for being here. Welcome. I'm Liz Hill. I'm the Associate Director for the University of Colorado Boulder's Ombuds Office, and we're so excited to have you here today for our Small Bite, Big Impact Lunch and Learn program. Friendly reminder that these are 30-minute programs, just to give you a bite-sized amount of information and skills that you can start using immediately, and then we'll get you back to your day. A little bit of housekeeping before I introduce today's guest. You are muted and your video is turned off, and this is to reduce distractions, especially since we are recording this session. We'll change these settings as needed for any kind of interactive activities or breakout rooms. We will be using the chat, so if you have questions or have issues, please use the chat for that. Georgie and I will keep an eye on it, and Georgie Getley is our program admin, so she'll be helping as well. While Melissa's presenting, we'll also be tracking any non-substantive questions so that we can help you with that as soon as possible. We are recording, as I mentioned, and that's so that we can put this on our website and reach as many people as possible. We will end the recording before Q&A, so people can ask questions without worrying about being recorded. And in the next few days, we will have a follow-up email, as usual, that will have any relevant links and additional resources that might be relevant to today's topic. All right, so without further ado, I am thrilled to introduce our guest, Ms. Melissa Kinzler. Melissa joins us from sunny San Diego. She's an expert in dispute resolution, helping individuals and organizations champion challenging conversations, mending crucial relationships, and resolving disputes with care and innovative approaches. For the sake of time, I'm going to leave the introduction at that. We'll be sharing Melissa's website in the chat, as well as where you can find her on LinkedIn, so that you can learn more about her work, her education, her credentials, and of course, all her great accomplishments. So Melissa, take it from here. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Liz.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for having me here today. Welcome to the presentation on navigating emotional conflicts, learning a few techniques about how to move parties from chaos to calm. My name is Melissa Kinzler. I'm a conflict management expert out of San Diego, California, bringing you best practices and ideas developed at the program on negotiation at Harvard Law School. Today, we're going to discuss a principled way to help move individuals from chaos to calm. Now, in the past few years, the intersection of neuroscience and conflict resolution has provided some valuable insights into human behavior and conflict resolution. By understanding the brain's processes, we can enhance conflict outcomes and provide practical tools for leadership. So we've come to understand conflict not so much as a destructive behavior, but as a natural part of human behavior and a natural occurrence. And we've reframed it to look at conflict as an opportunity for curiosity, understanding, and reflection. And reflection is going to play a key role in today's presentation. And by understanding the role that the brain plays in conflict, we can enhance conflict resolution outcomes and move parties better from chaos to calm. Resolving conflict is a multi-layered process. Through the principles of problem solving, we're able to build from one layer to the next. So each layer builds on the next to reach a resolution. And here, there are four main principles that forge this path through emotional conflicts to resolution today. We're going to be focusing on two of the four. So in this presentation today, we're going to be working with separating the people from the problem, or separating the person from the problem, which can sometimes also be referred to as separating the personality from the problem. And we're going to be focusing on interest rather than position. So a position may be, I need 4 days off next week, but the interest is I need some time to rest and recuperate because I've been working so hard. So that's the difference between a position and an interest. And let's see why the brain plays a role in conflict. During conflict, the amygdala, which is responsible for emotional processing, can hijack rational thinking, which is controlled by the prefrontal cortex. So this part of the brain in red, which we might refer to as red brain, can hijack and take over the processes of the brain and draw away from the green brain, which is used for planning, processing, and problem solving. We call this the rational decision-making part of the brain. Understanding this dynamic helps leaders identify when parties are driven by emotions and potentially unable to think rationally. So let's look at how we can better understand when this is happening. When individuals are triggered, we notice an immediate change like increased heart rate, sweaty palms, and the flood of stress hormones creates other sensations like shaky limbs and a shaky voice. We may notice the individual have a hot flash, a heat flush in the face. The throat may constrict, the neck tightens, or you might see them clenching their jaw. And these sensations are not meant for relaxation. They're designed to move us into action, which means it's a terrific prehistoric response to stress, for running from lions, tigers, and bears. But in a professional setting, they get in the way of modern problem solving. They're great for being in the wilderness, not so great for being in an office or workplace. So how do we move parties from that natural prehistoric triggered state to a state of calm and rational thinking? Well, we try to adopt ways to help move folks away from emotion and into problem solving mode using activating strategies. We work on ways to activate the prefrontal cortex, that green part of the brain, so we can shift from chaos to calm. One intentional way to do this is to use inquiry and acknowledgement before we ever advocate for a solution. The way to activate the green brain in this instance is to get the party to reflect. For the purpose of activating the green brain, we try to get the stressed party to self-reflect by asking probing questions. The common purpose of inquiry is usually to understand, clarify, and discover. And we do that too. But here, the purpose is to get them to reflect on what they're saying and how they're thinking and saying it. Let's look at some examples. These are some questions that are likely to activate the problem-solving prefrontal cortex, green brain. We sometimes refer to them as the who, what, where, when, why, and how questions. Really integrate this into the moment. Who, what, where, when, why, and how. We're going to be doing an exercise on this soon. So we want to probe and inquire. These are questions that require more than a yes or no answer. They require some complex thinking that will bring that green part of the brain back online. It's required to answer these questions. So we want to ask the party, and I want you to think about a recent conflict that you had, and how it might have gone if you had asked all of these questions first before espousing your perspective, agreeing or disagreeing, or offering a solution. So when we're working with the inquiry mode, we're doing it without any kind of opinion of whether we agree or disagree with what the party is saying. And we're also not advocating for any solutions during this phase. We're just doing inquiry. So reflect on a recent conflict you might have had, or it could have been one long ago, but just one that comes to mind. And think about how that conflict might have gone if you got into the discussion about the who, what, where, when, why, and how before the advocacy. So we might say, I'm just going to say these out loud so we can hear them out loud. Who else shares your view on this? What else do you think about this topic? Where did you first cultivate that point of view? When did you begin thinking this way? When did you begin feeling this way? Why do you believe you feel so strongly about this? How do you feel about others that have a different view? When we're trying to activate the green brain, using acknowledgement is also super useful. In acknowledgement, you are confirming your understanding of them without agreeing or disagreeing with what they've said. So let's look at acknowledgement statements on the next slide. So we're maintaining that curiosity, and we're turning kind of our acknowledgement into a question, if you will. So we're first let's say the issue is somebody who believes that free speech should be free everywhere all the time, no matter where they are, as long as they're in a country that has free speech. And we might say, so when that happens, so when you aren't allowed to speak freely, why do you think you react so strongly to that? And again, our purpose here is to cause the party to self-reflect, and in doing so, bring the green brain back online. It's a means to an end. Lastly, we're just confirming what we've heard. Confirming is just very simply trying to get them to say, you've got it. So we want to keep going through questions that work in acknowledgement and inquiry questions to uncover the individual's who, what, where, when, why, and how. Acknowledge it. Put the acknowledgement in a question format to make sure we've got it. So they're going to reflect, make sure you've got it, and then confirming it. Again, confirming is very simply just getting them to say, yep, you've got it, that's it. If they say, no, that's not it, and they need to go back, they're reflecting, and we're still accomplishing our goal. They're reflecting, activating the green brain, and they're bringing you through the cycle again. Confirming means they say, we've got it, right? It's not about us saying we've got it. It's about them saying we've got it. And a final confirmation just sounds like, it sounds like you might be feeling stifled when this happens. I can imagine you might feel restricted when that occurs. So we're acknowledging feelings and thoughts, what it feels like to them, not judgments or positions. All right, so let's give this a chance to take it for a spin. We're going to do an exercise now where we're going to.
Okay, Liz, I'm just gonna pause here for our exercise where we're gonna take this out on dry land. And I think everybody's muted. So I'm just going to go through very quickly our exercise instructions. So we're going to break up into groups of 3, and Liz and Georgina are going to work their magic behind the scenes to put everyone into breakout rooms. And one person is going to play the inquirer. They're going to pick one of these hot topic ideas. You can glance at them, and we're going to do this very quickly. We only have about 5 minutes, so quickly pick a topic